Hey guys, welcome to Nerd of the Rings. As you can tell, I am not in my nerd cave today. I am actually in New Zealand and I am on the road on an epic tour through Middle Earth. And the only reason I'm jumping on is because some of my friends over at theonering.net said we're publishing this huge list of potential plot points of season 2 of Rings of Power. And there are some doozies in here that you might want to react to and share with your audience, get some conversation going, and see what we all think of some of these. If you're interested in following my adventures in New Zealand, obviously I'll be posting a ton of stuff to YouTube later on, but for right now, if you want to follow it in real time over on Instagram, every single day I am posting and sharing what I'm up to that day. Lots of really fun photo ops happening in various places throughout New Zealand, and it's been a great time. So if you want a sneak peek, go over to Instagram, follow me there. But today we are getting into some Rings of Power Season 2 potential spoilers, potential leaks, potential plot points. So again, if you don't want to be spoiled on anything regarding Season 2 of Rings of Power, turn off the video right now because there's some doozies in here. And if you don't want to be spoiled about anything, don't watch the video. Last warning. All right, we're going to get into this. I'm going to react to some of these. I'm going to try equally as hard not to overreact because at the end of the day, it's hard to say what of this is true and what, is total BS. I'll certainly be rooting for some of this to be total BS and maybe some of it to be true. We'll see. But yeah, let's just go through it point by point. I definitely want to hear what you guys think in the comments. So let me know, what things stick out to you, what things you like, what things you don't like. Obviously, season 1 for me was very much a mixed bag, gorgeous visually, but there's some story things and, we're going to get into some story things. I'll just say that. So here we go. Point 1, Amazon has newly expanded rights to plot points from the Silmarillion. Now, we knew that in season 1, they kind of had said that they had, they could get on a case-by-case basis additional permissions from the Tolkien estate to depict certain things. So like some of the things, possibly like the prologue stuff that happens in the First Age, presumably they got special permission to show that because that's not stuff from the appendices of Lord of the Rings. So that seems like more of the same here. And as we'll see, that there's some specific things they mention that they got permission for, presumably. What this definitely does not say is that they got the rights to the Silmarillion. So I want to make sure that's clear so nobody's misinterpreting that. I could see people skimming over that and saying, oh my gosh, they got the rights to the Silmarillion. I don't think that's what this is saying whatsoever. Just certain plot points. Number 2, Simon Tolkien is personally involved and overseeing this show's expansion of the mythology. I don't know that that's much of news. I think we already kind of knew that he was involved with the show. So so Simon Tolkien is still involved. Season 2 is mainly Sauron's story told from his perspective and opens with his retelling of history. So that's kind of interesting that season 2, like an entire season, I guess this is saying the entire season 2 is told from Sauron's perspective, which I'm not really sure. Like that seems like a lot from the bad guy's perspective for me personally. Like it's I don't know. As I mentioned in my season 1 review, I thought they tried a little too hard to make Sauron sympathetic, and I think this would be more of the same. I'm guessing if it's told from his perspective. So we'll see how that goes. I think for him being the big bad of season 2, like he does a lot of stuff in the Second Age, so I'm not expecting him to be like absent. But to have it all from his perspective, I think would be kind of difficult. All right, next up, Episode 1 is primarily Sauron's story leading up to the breaking of the First silence. So episode 1 would focus on Sauron's story. I'm guessing it means including the breaking of the first silence, because that'd be a pretty quiet episode if the first silence was just broken at the end of it. But as we'll see here in a minute, I think that's alluding to the creation music, the music of the Ainur. Season 2, episode 1, opening scene is Eru using the secret flame to create Melkor. So the secret flame, as you guys probably know, the secret fire that is referenced by Gandalf when he's fighting the Balrog, of course. And that's what Eru uses to create true life. And Melkor, he, as much as he wants to, he cannot create true life. He can only distort. And so that's, where the story comes from, where he takes elves and turns them into orcs and, things of that nature. He can only distort things that are already created. He can't actually create true life. Just like Aule can't create true life, and Eru has to give the dwarves their true life. He has to use the secret fire. He's the only one that can do it. Melkor watches as Eru creates all the Valar and the Maiar. So I guess he creates Melkor first, and then one by one does the rest, is what this is saying. Eru is a disembodied voice, vaguely human-shaped, but no characteristics can be made out. Now, I think that could be a good approach, because it's like, how do you portray God, basically? I mean, that's what Eru is, essentially. I think it would be pretty hard to depict that and it not come off underwhelming, really. I think that's actually probably a smart move to not depict Eru in any traditional means. So I'll be very curious to see how they do that. The secret flame is golden, so the secret fire is golden, as are all the Valar and Maiar. That's kind of interesting, actually. I was thinking about this. My first thought was, usually I'm trying to think of other instances, but I think most times that we see like a good or holy light, it's usually a silver or a white light. There's obviously other things like leaves on trees and stuff that are gold, but when we're talking about light specifically, I think a lot of times it's gold or white, or I'm sorry, silver or white. So I don't know. I always just pictured, it being one of those. But yeah, it's kind of interesting too, because gold is like the substance is something that Morgoth actually has an effect on, as we learn, kind of diving into the deeper works, that Morgoth has a specific effect on gold. Anyway, tangents. That's what you're here for, right? Tangents. Lore tangents. It's coming. All right. Number 9. The Valar are larger than the Maiar. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. But are bathed in a golden light and completely naked. All right. I guess Eru wasn't concerned about clothes in this adaptation. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, with the next one, like, it could be okay, as long as it's not just like shock value, like, oh, here's naked people, because the next one says the scenes with early Valar were filmed with nude figures in strategic lighting. So I'm guessing it could be kind of like when Gandalf in the Two Towers wakes up after he's sent back by Eru. Where you're not really sure where he is or what plane of existence he's on, basically. So I could see it, being something like that. And number 11, we're moving on to some Sauron stuff here, it looks like. Sauron will be played primarily by 3 actors in Season 2. The next point gives us those. So we have a Sauron in Myron form, and that's his early form before he's corrupted by Morgoth. And it says they actually do use that name, which is interesting. That person is not played by the same actor who played Halbrand, or the actor that, I don't know if it's official or if it's rumored that he's playing Anatar, but the actor that they say is going to play Anatar, that he's not played by either of those. So that's a third actor that they're going to have playing Sauron. They're really leaning into that Sauron taking different forms here. Number 13, after the fourth interruption of the song, several Maiar meet and discuss Melkor's discordance. So this is kind of interesting. They have like a powwow, but the thing that stuck out to me is it says after the fourth interruption of the song. And I wonder if this is like whoever's, putting these out, if this happens to be true, any of this. It's interesting that it says the fourth interruption of the song when there's only 3 parts of the music of the Ainur. Like, that'd be something really weird to either change or get wrong. So yeah, it makes me wonder if that's like someone misremembering or something. And then it says Mithrandir, Gandalf, is in this scene. And it's kind of interesting that they're using the name Mithrandir instead of Olorin. Like, we're getting Sauron's Mairon name, but not Gandalf's Olorin name. That's kind of weird. Like, why would he have his elvish name if the elves aren't even here yet in this scene? But again, who knows what is actually going to be in the final product here. And then it says that Gandalf is nearly convinced to support Sauron's agenda. I'm not a big fan of that, I'll be honest. Like, it's kind of leaning really heavily into that, everybody's some shade of gray. Like, there's nobody fully good, nobody fully bad kind of stuff. It's like, come on, it's Gandalf, guys. Like, Saruman would actually, if anyone is nearly convinced but doesn't at this point, like, Saruman would make more sense if you're picking a wizard, I think. That's just me. Yeah. I really don't like the idea of Gandalf being, like, partially convinced to be a bad guy. That just doesn't seem right. Mairon gives an epic speech. The one has blessed me more so than all of you to see the potential of his creations. And what better way to forge their metal than by allowing them to face Melkor's discord and grow beyond what they think capable. And I hope that's a paraphrase because I can't even tell what the heck it's supposed to mean. And I also don't know why Sauron would be giving this speech to, like, convince people to join Melkor. I think that's what he's getting around. Like, he's trying to get people to join Melkor. Like, I guess Sauron is like Melkor's hype man in this situation. Because I would think Melkor would be the one convincing people. But they have Sauron for some reason. Yeah. Okay, on to number 17. We're past the halfway point, guys. We're almost there. It gets even crazier. I'm saving it up. All right, Sauron tells the dwarves he apprenticed under Aule, so they welcome him with open arms. And at first I read this and I was just like, okay. Like, I could see, Sauron, that's part of his appeal of giving them rings is like, hey, the guy that you worship, the guy that you look up to more than any other Valar, I was his apprentice and I've made you these rings as a gift. Like, that kind of checks out. The thing that I actually find kind of hilarious in, like, a sad way is that this thing, so Sauron goes to them, not even, I guess he's in disguise, I don't know, but if Sauron goes to them and just says, hey, I'm an apprentice of Aule, and they're like, okay, that's cool. But then in season 1, like, the whole reason we had the Halbrand mystery box and we couldn't do Anatar because, and again, this is showrunner words, not mine. They said, the whole Anatar, like, hey, I'm emissary of the Valar, I'm gonna make you these rings, and they say, who would believe that? Like, this is legit that exact same story. Like, this is the same thing. Like, this is Sauron going to them and saying, I'm an emissary of the Valar. And they're like, cool. And it's the same thing that Anatar does to the elves, but they said that wasn't believable. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, number 18. Sauron will try to deceive Galadriel again by taking the persona of Celeborn. All right. So I wonder, is this one that like we're gonna know as an audience that Sauron is taking the persona of Celeborn, or is this gonna be another like end of the season surprise? I'm actually the bad guy. Because I don't know if I could take another one of those. That was rough. I wasn't a fan of the first one, and I really don't want a part 2 of the exact same thing. Especially as gosh. I don't know. It's like, maybe you could pull that off once if it's done well. But it just seems like more of the same. Sauron sneaks back into Eregion as Celeborn. Yeah, it all depends on the execution. Like, any of this stuff depends on execution. Any lore changes, it always comes down to execution. Obviously, for me, season 1, I felt like there was way too much, lore tweaking, lore bending, lore breaking, in correlation to the quality of the story being told. Like, I can take a fair number, I've always said this, I can take a fair number of lore tweaks and stuff. Like, there's a reason I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy, despite the things that they changed. Like, I can look at Gandalf versus the Witch King in the movies and say, but the book is so much better. But the quality of the movies makes me forgive it, Like, it depends on the quality of the story being told. And I need to see more good story being told before, being okay with some of the lore changes, especially the stuff that we haven't even got to the craziest stuff, guys. All right. Here we go. Number 20. Sauron has a son who was killed by Adar. So, if Sauron falling in love with Galadriel, allegedly, wasn't enough for you, apparently he also settled down and had a kid, and that kid was killed by Adar. So that's their beef. If you're wondering if it was a power struggle, nope, Adar killed his son. And at this point, I'm wondering if Sauron's gonna come in, roll in, and be like, I am Myron Sauron, Anatar Gorthaur, father to a murdered son, husband of a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. Go full gladiator on him. Why not, right? Oh my gosh. Again, rumors, guys. Maybe this is total BS. I hope it is. Believe me, I hope it is. All right. Number 21. Okay, so the One Ring article says, horse lovers rejoice. A dedicated bottle episode with little dialogue will tell the story of the first Meras, Felaroth, and introduce Shadowfax. Which is kind of like, as a story, like I don't hate the idea of telling the story of Felaroth and Shadowfax and, the Meras. I don't really see how it belongs in a Second Age show. Like, that is a purely Third Age story. And again, like, if just pulling up, previous quotes, like what we've heard from like the showrunners and stuff, they said there was plenty of stuff in the Second Age they didn't need to pull in from the Third Age. So like, I don't know what the benefit would be here to this. Like this, honestly, a little bottle episode with the story of the Meros, like, kind of seems like a special feature, or like a, I don't know, like a fun animated short or something. And also Shadowfax, like if Shadowfax comes in now, he's going to be well over 3,000 years old by the time of Return of the King. Of Lord of the Rings, sorry. That's a really old horse. That'd make me wonder where, like, all these immortal horses are come Lord of the Rings time. Because, like, he's got ancestors, man. Like, where are all these immortal horses? And then it says Gandalf. So this is saying that Meteor Man, the stranger, is Gandalf, apparently. Which, as you also know, not a big fan of. Gandalf specifically says, I don't go to the east. And where's he going at the end of season 1? He's going to the east, by golly. And so Gandalf meets Shadowfax. So apparently Shadowfax is an immortal horse. And he and Gandalf meet in the Second Age. There you go. And then possibly my least favorite thing on here. Well, okay. Number 23 isn't my least favorite. Okay, number 23 is Tom Bombadil and Goldberry are in an episode. And it's like, okay, they pop up in Lord of the Rings. Like, they're pretty easy to cut out. They don't really interfere with the events of the world so much. Just the little bit that we see them in Lord of the Rings. Could be a little fan servicey to, like, put them in there, but like if they show up, I mean, they're in Eriador during this time, we know that, so like them popping up like a little cameo be totally fine, that makes sense, they're there. But here's the caveat, guys. The next couple points are a doozy. Number 24, they are played by the same actor and actress as Morgoth and Ungoliant from episode 1. And it's because Melkor, as Bombadil, is serving out his punishment bestowed on them by Mandos. So, again, rumors. But Tom Bombadil is Morgoth? What? Like, what is this? Oh my gosh. Like, this is... I don't even know what to say. Like, okay. I'm not like a massive Tom Bombadil fan. I really like the guy. More so than some other folks do. Like, I understand people are like, yeah, you can cut him out of the story. It doesn't make a difference. They're not the biggest fan. Whatever. But, like, I feel like people that even aren't the biggest Tom Bombadil fans would say that making him Morgoth is pretty horrible character assassination of Tom Bombadil. Like, that makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Like, we know what happens to Morgoth when he's defeated. He's thrust through the door at night. Okay? Ungoliant, we're told, consumes herself in her insatiable appetite. But in this version, Tom and Goldberry are Morgoth and Ungoliant. And, like, I don't know. Okay. Like I said, it's all rumors, guys. It's all rumors. It could be total BS. But, like, in a list that has some pretty questionable stuff, like, this is the dumbest thing that I have read on this entire page. Easily. Sauron having a son is pretty up there. But I think that Tom Bombadil as Morgoth ekes it out for the top spot. Like this, I can't even say anymore, guys. You know, I enjoy Tom Bombadil. And like the idea of him being Morgoth in secret is just the dumbest thing I have ever heard. I don't know. I can't even take it seriously, guys. It's such a bad idea. I can't imagine that this is true. I hope that this is not true. Okay. We've only got a few more of these. Let's get through this. Okay. Number 26. There's a season-ending cliffhanger involving Galadriel making a choice to save Celeborn. And then in parentheses it says Sauron question mark. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like this whole Celeborn Sauron thing has a chance to be pretty messed up. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of variables here on like how it's presented, what's Sauron trying to accomplish here. Like there's some character motivation stuff that will make a difference on how this lands or doesn't. So like I can't really tell much by these notes. On its surface, I'm not a big fan of like the whole Sauron secret identity thing. Like they did it once in season 1 and it wasn't that great. It was one of my least favorite things of the entire show. Like Halbrand being Sauron, did not like it at all. I think he makes so much more sense to be one of the Nazgul, to have Halbrand be one of the Nazgul as that story plays out. But I'm not going to relitigate that. That's in my season 1 review. You can go back and watch that if you want to waste an hour and 15 minutes of your life watching my review on season 1. Yeah, so obviously I'm not a big fan of the mystery box Sauron identity thing. Like it's already been done. Move on. Like just give us a straightforward good story. That's all I ask, guys. That's what I'm hoping for with any adaptation. That's all I want. That's all I want. All right, number 27, episodes 6 and 7 is a huge 2-part siege of Eregion, which I kind of assumed that the end of season 2, like that actually kind of matches up with, in my head, how I thought the seasons might play out. Because I assumed, well, actually, so I'm looking at this. We'll get to this on the next part, but I kind of thought that the end of season 2 could be the fall of Eregion, and it could actually, I think it could be interesting if it actually ends on a down note, because season 1 is kind of like, I don't know what kind of note you'd say that ends on. It's kind of a wishy-washy end. It doesn't seem like a happy or sad end. It just kind of ends. I don't know. But yeah, like I could actually see it being kind of cool and interesting if the siege of Eregion happens and like Sauron wins, you know, or appears to be winning at the end of season 2, you know. And spoiler alert, Celebrimbor, you know, he's gonna bite the dust. Celebrim banner, as some folks say. That could actually be an interesting way to end season 2, where, you know, people are in rough shape. Like Elrond's had to retreat. You know, they go north to found Rivendell. The dwarves retreat into Moria. Sauron has totally destroyed Eregion, and he's, you know, going out to conquer all of Eriador. That's, you know, his mission. Like if that's how the season 2 ends, like that could actually be kind of a cool ending. But then number 28 here says the season will end with Sauron forging the One Ring, which again is like, you know, if that holds true, because I'm guessing it's 8 episodes again, then the season would, like, he would conquer Eregion and then forge the One Ring. Like, again, that doesn't really make sense. Like, he forges the One Ring and then he makes war. Like, he forges the ring, and that's how the elves know about his treachery. Like, it would be a really weird, again, and like, it wouldn't be the first time, because we saw the 3 rings of the elves forged before any other rings in season 1. But it would be this changing of order of events that makes less sense than the canon story. And it would be a change that seems completely unnecessary. And I could list a handful of things from this list as changes that seem completely unnecessary. Gosh, there's too many times in season 1 and too many things on this list where I just look at it and say, why would you do it this way? And I can't answer that in a satisfactory way. And that's one of the things that kind of bugs me. So yeah, there we go. So these, again, guys, this is all rumors. These are just my off-the-cuff reactions. This is like my second time reading through this list. So, this isn't like some, well-constructed, I guess. This is just top-of-mind thoughts. I scribbled a couple notes on a couple of them. There's, out of a list of 28, I would imagine there's got to be some of these that are bogus, right? Like, I gotta think. I gotta hope, honestly, that there's a good chunk of these that are completely bogus. Because on it, like some of them, I can't help but laugh at like how absurd I personally find some of these. Some of them, I mean, seeing a good adaptation of the creation music, the song of the music of the Ainur, like, that would be really cool. Probably my favorite moment of all of season 1 of Rings of Power was seeing the 2 trees of Valinor. Like, when Finrod comes over the hill and you see Tyrion and you see the 2 trees, like, that shot is so flippin' beautiful. I love that shot. If that was able to be replicated in the music of the Ainur that they're talking about doing here, like, that would be really cool. I would love to see it. But then there's a lot of this other stuff that, like, the show, like, just based on season 1, it does not get the benefit of the doubt. Like, I kind of, I'm still going to go into season 2 with an open mind, whether any of this turns out to be true or untrue or whatever. But there's a lot here that, after seeing the execution of season 1, that I just kind of look at and it's hard to imagine some of these things not only actually being true, but if they are true, working well, which definitely gives me some pause. I'm sure we'll be talking about more, about this as we get into, the season where they start releasing teasers. And I don't think they've even announced yet, when exactly the show is coming. So we still have that. We don't know when season 2 is coming. Again, these are just rumors at this point. I don't think anything in this list has actually been confirmed by the One Ring. They're like reporting on some posts that were circulating around. So yeah, I thought, what the heck? These are some crazy things. I want to get on here, get some free-flowing thoughts out there. But I definitely want to hear what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you think on any of these. So yeah, tell me what you think about the creation music, about the Shadowfax, Freyaloft stuff, the Celeborn stuff. Definitely tell me what you think about the Tom Bombadil stuff, man. That's still sending me. It's sending me right now. I can't lie. Yeah, let me know what you think about all of it. And guys, I mean, I know this show has, like, at times brought out the worst in comment sections. Please, like, I'll just, ask, please try to be kind to each other in the comments, guys. Like, we can disagree on this stuff. We can, you know, hate the show, love the show. I say it all the time, but no matter how you feel about the show, there's no reason that, we can't treat each other, in a kind way, in a way that, that's courteous to one another and respectful to one another. It's so much more fun, when we can have these conversations and even argue while respecting each other. So please be kind to one another in the comments. Let me know what you think. Feel free to say if you think these ideas are stupid, if you think they're fantastic, tell me in the comments. I'm very curious to read through the comment section on this one. So without further ado, I am going to continue my adventure in New Zealand. Again, go follow me on Instagram, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.